So my dad, my brother was dating this girl, Andrea, in high school. She's a year older, and they dated, I think, like a year, a long time. They really liked each other. And one day, Andrea's mother, Joyce, brought her over, and my dad was there, and they met, and they started an affair. And we didn't have much money. You know, I think my dad often took money from his parents or Uncle Porter to pay the mortgage. I don't know how we did the vacations, the ski vacations and things like that. But it was always kind of a constant stressor that we didn't have much money for clothes. And, I had friends that dads were doctors and things like that. And it felt weird. It was like, is my dad not, is he not as good at, you know what? Is he not smart? He seemed very smart. Of course, we didn't really have the words to describe what was going on because we didn't know. It just got all crazy. And Mom, of course, was having her trouble with panic attack, not being able to leave the house sometimes, and great anxiety, taking Valiums and stuff she did to me. Like the time that I was at Corky's, I guess I was 16, I had a little car, and I was supposed to go down to North Carolina to see my dad, which was High Point, which I was excited about that. And when I got there, nobody was there. They had already left without me. I was a little bit late. I'm a teenager. I'm driving, probably 40 minutes across town from Corky's family's mansion. And so I decided, I got a map, and I found my way down to North Carolina in an old 67 Volvo. I made it. I think my brother worked on it some, but, and I walked in the market and I found my dad. They were all sitting there without me, and Mom thinks that's not okay. I know we didn't have cell phones, but you can't just leave a child like that. But and it happened. That wasn't the first time. She would say I was chronically late or something like that, but you can't just leave a kid like that. But Dad started having an affair with Joyce, and everything went crazy. Like her brother came down, and they said they had a love nest and all this. It was about money. It was like Dad. But I think what was happening is that Joyce and her husband were not getting along. And maybe somebody moved out, I'm not sure. But Dad was hanging out at her house with her kids. And my brother immediately broke up with Andrea, and he tried to get himself out of the situation because it was like Chip and Andrea knew all about it, and they were having a secret affair. It was so abusive, and abusive to all of us, our whole family. And my dad's brain had just snapped. He couldn't think. And I think my mom didn't like to have sex, so being bipolar and usually very hyperactive in sex when you're not depressed is probably one of his conditional things that he had to deal with. So he and Joyce had a really crazy, wild sex life. And I think my mom had him removed from the house with a policeman. He kept coming home and staying there. And I remember him walking out, and I just felt so sick. I was like, because he was walking out the door with this like shit-eating happy grin to go on a date with Joyce. And we're all in the house, and Mom is not happy. So he didn't have money, and he couldn't get money because he had bipolar. If he'd had money, he could have given Mom alimony, provided us a place to live, moved out, got a divorce, paid his child support and alimony, and then get someone he loves or that was good for him. But because of the entire mental health condition of our whole family, it was just crazy. And he had no money. He got an efficiency apartment in the summer. I remember summer before I went to college, and I stayed there. It was an efficiency. It was just one room, and I stayed with him because we didn't have any. But Mom had been so abusive to me, I couldn't stay with her. And I had a terrible eating disorder. This guy, Coley Nelson, a guy like me, came over and we played quarters. And I was scared about drinking the beer because of the calories, but I swallowed the quarter. You can ask, if he's still around, you can ask him. But Dad bought me this beautiful suede dress that I wore. I guess I started dating Russell some when I got to VCU, and he invited me to the country club, and I got this. Dad, he can have such a good heart, He bought me this. Went to an expensive, exclusive dress store, and they had this blue suede dress on sale for $100, and it had been $400, and this is back in the 80s. It was beautiful, and it fit me. I was so teeny with my eating disorder, and I wore it to the country club with Russell, and he still talks about it. And I told Russell, I said, last time I saw that dress, it was in the toy box, and my son had put it on and was running around the house in high heels and my blue dress and lipstick. But yeah, nobody really knew what was going on. And it took a long time for me to process it because of all the emotions I was having. So I feel terrible when I think of it. It's still traumatic in my heart. It really is. And I can understand why they don't want to think about it. But to get over it, you got to process it. So that's why I'm saying this, is just to get them hopefully to process and get to be healthier. My family.